Oh, yeah, she's trying to talk. Are you going to give the race recap for me, Briella? All right, Challenge Miami. Kind of where to start. Leading into the race, I had a great training block and was able to put in some good miles, good hours, just consistent work. There was nothing special about what I did. I've done it all before. I just knew that it was good numbers on the bike and on the run, and I just felt really consistent, and the workouts weren't destroying me, kind of like how I felt before Daytona, where I was just a little bit worn out from certain workouts and that really shouldn't have been wearing me out. So that was a positive going in, and mainly my main goal for the race was just to be consistent and race strong throughout, as I feel like it's been a little while since I felt really solid in a race overall, from start to finish in a half Ironman type distance. So the race morning, woke up, felt good, did all the pre-race stuff. It was solid, and the start was a little bit stressful or tricky just for positioning, because we only had 10 meters to line up in, and we had 50 guys, and that means that not everybody gets to start on the front. It was a few rows of guys going back, and I did not want to be mixed up in between one of those other rows. So they called down the first top 10 guys, and I was soon after to follow, and sprinted off to the far end on the suggestion of T.O., actually, because in Daytona, he was saying the rope was pulled across a little bit slower, and that was some really good insight, I think, to have right before the start. The gun went off, I took off, felt really good, established my lead, and then I basically just settled in. It was into the headwind of the first buoy, and since there's a tailwind, it's a little bit harder to draft. So I was hoping that I could open up a little bit of a gap with that like tailwind in the water, and then as I turned the buoy on the far side, which was basically a 180, I'd be able to make those gaps a little bit bigger as people would have to fight into the chop a bit. That basically was just some solid, steady swimming from me. There was quite a bit of just small chop, which is probably the most annoying to swim in, because there's no real rhythm to it. It's just kind of water slapping you in the face a little. But honestly, was great. Like all my gear was good. I had a little trouble with the cap slipping off, but didn't have any trouble sighting or anything like that. And it was a relatively non-eventful swim, which is always good, and was able to exit the water first, and then went right into T1, and probably had the blooper of the race coming out of T1. My water bottle sticks up a little bit higher off the back of my saddle than I usually have. The water bottle is a little bit taller. It was an insulated bottle, and I was mindful of that taking the bike out and even hopping on, but it threw me off balance a bit, and combined with the wind, I hit a cone twice basically, and dropped the bottle, and was pretty upset with letting that mistake happen, which is pretty, in my opinion, inexcusable at this level of racing, and basically just had to deal with it. It was the thing that went wrong in my race, and picked up the bottle and just got to it. And from there, it was settling into my watts the best I could on a technical course, around the road course. I really enjoyed the flow of it. The technical sections, I was able to stay in the aero bars for the whole time and felt really comfortable doing it. There was one 180 where everybody was sitting up, and that was fine. I lost contact a little bit with the very front of the race when Andrew Starkowitz came by, and Jan kind of took off with him. And from there, really just limited the damage. Was solid riding. Legs were pretty good. I think because of the wind, the technical aspects, and just the surging in that, my back was a little sore throughout there, and I feel like that was more of a limiter than my legs. But overall, the nutrition went well, stayed hydrated, set myself up for a great run. And coming into T2, just made sure to get my stuff together, get my stuff on, my shoes on quick, and head out. And from the beginning, I could tell that I had some pretty good legs. And the person right in front of me was Rudy von Berg, and I could see him, and I could see that I was taken back a few seconds at a time in that first lap. But at the end of that is when Lionel and Chris Lieferman came up on me, and I was able to hang with them for a while. And one of the main reasons of that is because we started running into the headwind, and Lionel did all of the work on that back stretch. And it was quick, but I felt relatively comfortable until we hit that tailwind and our leg speed went way up. We were probably running 5-minute pace, give or take. I know my watch lapped out just a little bit over that, and we had been running into headwind beforehand. So I knew that was probably a bit quick for, just going into the third lap of the race, and I adjusted accordingly. So Lionel and Chris pulled away with Rudy just trailing off of that. And as I settled into my pace, I noticed that Rudy wasn't too far off, and then that Chris Lieferman actually dropped off of Lionel as well. And through those next couple laps, I was taking hints from, just being able to see down the course about half a mile or so. And also from the announcers hearing that Dietliv and Starkowitz were dropping back, and was able to pick off people one by one. And Rudy was the first one, and was able to find a gap there, and then proceeded to pass Starkowitz and then Dietliv. And I kind of knew a couple laps before I passed those two other guys, I could see them running in comparison to Lionel and Chris, and knew that I was making up time enough to do that. So I knew I was in a position to basically finish fourth, unless I could catch Chris, and saw that he was very slowly coming back and that I really wasn't too far off of him, and used the last 3 laps almost as like a descend each one. And found myself on that last lap catching Chris and having just that little bit of a gear to go past him. I left a little bit in my legs just in case there was a sprint finish, and was almost kind of hoping there was one, as I always love a good sprint, but it just so happened that I had good enough run legs to get some separation before the finish chute, and got to enjoy the last few steps into the finish line without having to, dig myself into a big hole. So overall, finished third on the day. Really pretty happy and proud of the way that I raced, as I didn't do anything stupid pacing wise, and was able to actually run people down on the run versus just, try and hold people off, which is something that is not usually how I race, and I found to be quite enjoyable, actually, to be the person having a carrot and not, just hoping that nobody catches me. So that gave me a lot of confidence for the run, and it was great to be able to race with Jan and Lionel, who, were great on the day. Of course, Jan is almost in another class, but it's really great being able to race athletes like him and Lionel, and to really check where I am in comparison, because it sets the benchmark for what I need to hit at the bare minimum to be competitive for the rest of the year. And I look forward to trying to hit those goals to be more competitive with them. You trying to talk too? Do you want to be interviewed? Let's go. The turnaround was not too quick for the race. I was able to travel the next day and woke up feeling actually pretty good. I think after sitting on the plane for 4.5 hours, that's when the soreness set in. But overall, the body responded pretty well to a solid race. Next up on the schedule is Texas 70.3 and St. George 70.3. So it's back to work already in Phoenix. And I think that the bigger of those two races is obviously St. George. So that's going to be where the main focus is. But every race counts this year. We don't know how many opportunities we're going to get early season to race. So I'm going to try and, be prepared for each one.
Okay, bye guys. Bye.